That it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to game number 2 in our best of 3 series between PBHead and Blues. PB takes a very long, drawn-out game number 1 on the back of his patent lab. Thinking Machines, in particular, doing a great job keeping his Offworlds alive and Blues frozen and/or blown up. Philothanic is still here with us,
Yes.
providing some additional commentary. I'm seeing a lot of expensive water resources and power, but I haven't looked at much at the maps. What do we got going on there?
Well, so I'm really tempted because of that expensive water resources science spot right in the top corner of the map. The only issue why I would hesitate for it, and PBHead decides to take it anyway after Blues takes a robot, is the silicon is all the way on the other side of the map, and as is the well, all the carbon but 2. Now I think out of these founds, PBHead did get the better found in my opinion. We'll have to see how this plays out. Blues is instead going for a aluminum robot found, going to be shipping in his iron. I would have thought he would have found it over in the other corner of the map next to this carbon and water and silicon.
Yeah, Blue's definitely prioritizing aluminum a lot this game. There are underground nukes available, so he may be able to make something happen long-term with this, but he's going to have to be aggressive with nukes very quickly, as of course aluminum loses a lot of its value after players have gotten all the way upgraded. We'll have to see what he can do with that. PB, of course, he has gotten it too, and he's going to have access to some great income just as soon as he can get these farms online. Also, power. Gonna go nuts very quickly. Started at 80. American colony. It's only added offices.
Instead of farms, PBHead's going immediately into water pumps.
Yeah,
doesn't really
farms
have
might have been a
the
little pricey.
cash to go straight into farms, so
Water is a nice midpoint. Free to put down.
only has the opportunity cost of time. PBHead also claiming a second aluminum, wanting to make it that much harder for Blues to nuke it out.
Wow, and speaking of nukes, PB gets aggressive with his immediately against Blue's iron. Gonna choose to take that route, apparently. This game hasn't actually moved into farms just yet. Might be waiting for HQ3 for that, but then of course power is gonna also be a pretty serious concern. It is kind of what I expect out of him at this point in some ways because of these aluminum tiles he's taken, but water's pretty dead. He'll want to move out of this, I think, before he upgrades. Although he's setting up for the upgrade now with this 40 glass purchase he's got. There we go. Farm's gonna go. Blue's also having to make some transitions before moving up to HQ3. Elects to move into a solar panel. Day just hit, so this is going to be okay, but the steel really not getting anything done for the time being for Blues.
No, and it won't be getting anything done for... Okay, there are 2 double highs that I missed when I first looked at the map, just to the south of Blues Colony. So he can move into those. Those will be a lot harder for PBHead to nuke out.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine long term. The nuke is interesting, though. For the short term, Blues is actually, it looks like, going to move it into, that looks like a wind turbine. Actually, interesting choice, but Blues only got $45,000 of debt. Power's pushing up close to 300. It is pretty feasible for him to make some cash in it this game.
Right, assuming PBHead isn't able to shut down the power with the circuit overload, which he could pick up right now for 3K.
Yeah, and PB's in the money. I mean, this is the thing. Like, Blues can try and put down power all he wants, but when your opponent has this array of black market tools to throw at you and the cash to get it done, things are not looking all that pleasant for Blues. I mean, EMPs and power surges and circuit overloads, not a pleasant place to be. Blues actually just scraps out of all of that potential power immediately, moves right into farms.
A scientific HQ has
Yeah,
been
he,
upgraded.
instead of going for the wind turbine over here, I'm not sure exactly how much he paid for that. It was just under the cost of a goon. Perhaps gooning the solar panels would have been a better idea, just to make sure they actually has a power surplus.
Interesting location for PB to take this particular wind power. It's just a little weaker than what he could have had, quite frankly. A moderate, a weak, and a strong. If he'd gone a little further south, he could have had a very strong, and a strong all in a line. No goon squad. That's going to be a problem. PB needed to wait to put these down until he had the goon cooldown. Now they're just overloaded, sitting around doing nothing. PB's going to have to transition something like this steel just to try and stay alive this game. Instead, he's got a geotherm coming.
That debt is the only thing that Blues has going for him right now, because he is behind in levels as a robot against a scientist, something you don't want to see. He's also losing a decent amount of money, 200 a second to power, going into a solar panel separate from his base, moving as these circuit overloads finish, moving into solar panels next to his HQ. His cooldown is almost up. He's going to want to goon some of his solar, just so he's a chance to pay down his debt and maybe get back into this game.
Yeah, that is kind of what I would expect to see from him. I'm a little surprised he actually did scrap out of the food immediately. Trying to get this power price knocked down is just going to get power surged on out. That means, okay, PB already did defend his power, but PB had D levels of debt already. He's really going to need these wind turbines to do some work once they're online. Thankfully for him, no mutinies for Blues to potentially take away this Geo that'll be online in just a few seconds now. Dynamite, but no mutiny.
Yeah, Blues had the... Oh, nice. If you're Blues, you pay a decent amount of money for this financial instruments just to get some cash flow.
Yeah, it does mean, though, that you are quite far away, quite a bit further away from paying down your debt. Blues only running about a $500 surplus in power right now. I really didn't like this move to solar panels in so many ways. Just cost a little more money, could have stayed in farms a little longer, gotten potentially to the goon squad to defend things, then they would have been a lot better. Circuit overload lands once more onto the wind turbines. Not going to get near as much work done as the goon squad is in the way for PB this time.
Perhaps Blues thought the goon squad was on the geotherm instead, which is why he ignored it, or perhaps he hasn't spotted geotherm.
It is pretty far out of the way.
Either way, PBHead is very quickly paying through that debt. 1,700 a second in power money, chewing through that debt, catching up to Blues any minute now. PBHead has an EMP stored up just so he can hit Blues again once the current freeze ends.
Yeah, PB's absolutely in a fantastic spot now. I really didn't like Blues going for quite this commitment to power on HQ2 without the goon squad. If he just had that, he could have potentially been all right, but without it, the door never got shut on PB. He was able to pull back into this power very easily. What are these wind turbines? PB are just insane. They're just crazy. Just crazy. His wind turbines get frozen, but he doesn't even care because he has a geotherm online. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, PB's still able to pay down all of this debt. He's gotten through almost every last bit of it off the high power price. Blue's never able to do a single thing about it. Circuit overload lands once more. I gotta tell you, this game's looking closer and closer to over by the second at this point.
Yeah, it's very difficult to imagine a scenario that Blues can claw his way to HQ3, much less actually get back in contention in this game before PBHead buys him out. PBHead is now making $1,000 a second in power, though the price is dropping very rapidly, but PBHead might make almost enough money to purchase Blues here.
A new claim is available for option.
Yeah, PB's in such a great spot right now. He's got so much cash. He could pretty easily just take another upgrade. I mean, he's got 2 reactors down now. Could upgrade, move into an extra reactor, maybe go back into the triple farm. At that point, you're on just so much cash. Blues does get a claim for 28,000, but I gotta gotta say, he's still just so far behind at this point. It's gonna need a lot more than that to recover from here. Does PP take the upgrade? He does. Okay. I'm actually totally fine with that, especially because steel is just so expensive right now. It can throw down an additional steel mill. Oh, Mars quick.
Additional life support, which is also expensive. Nuke Blues for good measure.
Why not?
Water.
He's got reactors down. Hit his water, sure. Yeah. Yeah, Blues already moves out of the electrolysis and concedes. Wow. I was not expecting that.
I was not either, but when you're 2 HQs behind as a robot against a scientist, still looking at a 39, almost 40k for the upgrade to HQ3, there's really not much else to do but concede.
Nope, and Blues does give it up. This means that we have our first finalist for our upper bracket, and it is going to be, surprisingly enough, PBHead. Makes it all the way to the finals once more. He's had some rocky games so far, but he showed up when it counted, and that knocks Blues down to the 3rd, 4th place match. Going to be a while before we know who his competitor is, but those are the first two to get to the end of the bracket. Man.
PBHead pulling in a ridiculous 190k in power. Looking, most of that was just paying off the ridiculous amount of debt he found himself in.
But hey, he got it done.
He did get it done.
PB wins the game with $8,000 in money on hand and no debt. And that was enough to do it.
What I really want to know is why Blues didn't found over by this nice scavenger spot. I guess aluminum is really hard for that location, which is why he discounted it.
Yeah, I think so.
That must be it, because looking at
aluminum
it again...
started expensive too, right?
Aluminum started expensive, and yeah, when I first looked at the spot, I did not see the lack of aluminum.
That's the big thing. Yeah, Blues didn't see the low aluminums that PB was able to pick up. He thought he was going to be able to grab it all. Didn't get that done. Alu was normal price to start, he says. Okay.
Yeah, so once PBHead took the best spot, that science spot, not sure that there were many other options that were great for Blues to found.
Well, Blues found it first. That's
wait,
the
he
thing
did
that's
found
really
first.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, he was just really confident in that aluminum monopoly then. Yeah,
he
Blues
wanted that
picking it
aluminum
for
monopoly.
18k. Just
Didn't work
showing,
out, though.
just showing that map identification is hard, and even the best of us sometimes make mistakes.
That is true. I make mistakes all the time, but I wouldn't qualify us as the best of us, or me as the best of us. That said, Blues definitely is, and so other players maybe shouldn't feel too bad about their difficulty reading maps sometimes after a game like that. Still well fought by Blues. He did well to get this far. He will have an opportunity in the 3rd, 4th place match to prove his stuff, but PB, once again, into the finals. I don't know why I expected a finals without PB there, but I was feeling it this time around, and he just had to go and prove me wrong.